You think we should kick off, Lucy, or wait a few more minutes?
I think let's go for it.
Yeah, let's go.
Welcome, everyone.
Yes, yeah, indeed. Hello, everybody. For those people that don't know me, my name's Helen. We've been working, I'm from Marketing Worldwide. I'm joined by Lucy, who joined us a couple of years ago now and is going to look after the chat and any Q&A that you might have. Please do put any questions in the Q&A, but we'll pick them up from wherever they come as well. So that's all fine. So she's just going to keep an eye on the admin. And I'm going to give you a quick chat about Nairobi Tented Camp and my experiences when I was there at the end of last year. So some of these photos are mine and some are official photographs, so it's a little bit of a mix, so please bear with me. But I thought the important bit was I wanted to give a feel for what I think and my thoughts about Nairobi Tented Camp were. My whole itinerary was dipping in and out of Nairobi. So I arrived into Nairobi, as you'd expect. I went to Tanzania, I came back to Nairobi, and then I went out to the Mara and I came back to Nairobi. And I think in a way, I really got to know the tented camp and sort of it was quite nice coming back and forth. So that's a lot of my experience, was staying here multiple times on different occasions and then having different experiences and having different people in camp and so on. So just to kick it off, Nairobi Tented Camp is in the heart of Karen. For everybody or anybody who knows Karen, we're opposite the hub, which is obviously a big shopping centre. But yes, so where we are is within the Game Watchers and Porini Safari Camps offices, which sounds very odd. And I'll explain a little bit more about it. But basically, it's this lovely 9-acre plot that Mernji's always had for the offices. It was owned by his grandparents. It's a plot of land that was available in Nairobi, and he moved the offices here. And then when we had to relocate Nairobi Tented Camp, he really wanted to carry on employing all the people that work there, keep a presence in Nairobi, and utilise, obviously, the tented camp as well. So he's created this part of the plot, where he's put Nairobi Tented Camp. And so the little camp is inside this plot of land. It's completely separate to the offices. I mean, it sounds like it's in the office, but it's not. It's in a completely separate space, completely private, has its own entrance within that plot. But it is handy if you need anybody, or and also there are vehicles nearby for any excursions and so on. So it makes it operationally quite easy to do. So it's on this lovely plot of land. It's about 9 acres, as I said. It's beautiful established trees. His grandparents were avid gardeners. So there's mango trees and avocado trees. We have our own organic vegetable garden as well for the camp. So a really lovely little oasis in Nairobi, and totally secure as well, as you would imagine. So in terms of location, so here we are in Karen. It's about a 25-minute journey to Wilson Airport, and only about a 35 to Jomo Kenyatta. And the reason is that obviously we use this lovely new highway that dips down here rather than having to go into Nairobi itself when we're coming in from Jomo Kenyatta Airport. It also means we have easy access to all of the activities that carry on in Karen as well, like Giraffe Centre, obviously got the Sheldrick down here, and access into the park. Obviously, we've had a lot of experience being inside the park, and a lot of our guides are passionate about the wildlife in the park. And if any of you have been in, you'll know what phenomenal wildlife there is to be had. When I was staying at Nairobi Tented Camp recently, I didn't have a chance to go in the park, but 2 agents that I happened to bump into whilst I was there, they'd been in the park and they saw phenomenal rhino and lion in a 2-hour game drive. So, you know, please don't disregard Nairobi National Park. It really does offer something special. And I think our guides who go out in the 4x4s are really good and know the park very well from our history of being inside the park. So that's our location. Moving along, I think one of the key things is, of course, we are a tented camp in Nairobi, which is unusual by itself. So it sort of continues that lovely theme of being under canvas, being out in the open, enjoying that greenery, the nature around you, still sitting around the fire, swapping stories at the end of the day, and sort of having that tented experience. And one of the lovely things about it is that, as I said earlier, they have kept employing everybody who was employed at the original Nairobi Tented Camp. So you have all kinds of the overlays that you would have in a traditional tented camp by staying here, which I'll tell you a little bit more about later. So this is the campfire. The entrance is just along here. It's literally 2 minutes away. All the tents are tucked away in these trees behind, and they all have complete privacy from one another. So you cannot see one tent next to each other at all. And then this is the main guest area. I'm going to show you another picture just now, but this is the sort of welcoming guest area. Again, all under canvas. This is where the Wi-Fi is at its strongest. At the moment, we have Wi-Fi here and in all of those main guest areas, and it does extend to one or two of the tents, but it doesn't go to all the tents. That is something we're changing. So we're hoping that very soon they'll have Wi-Fi in all of the tents. So it's something that we will communicate with you once we know that's gone live officially. So this is a lovely area to congregate as well, have the roaring fire going. When you arrive, there is a reception area where Morris, who's the manager, has his own office, but he spends most of the time here. So this is where you'll do your check-in. It's where you can refill your water bottles. It's a great place to gather. We always do a welcome drink on arrival, as you would expect, and a bit of a briefing about where you are. So a really lovely area to spend time in and relax in as well. This is the dining area. I took this picture as I was having breakfast. You can see my cup of tea here, looking out over the lawn. And obviously, that's the fire pit for the evenings, but we generally only set it up in the evening. So this is where we serve most of for breakfast and for dinner. However, if it is a really beautiful evening, we do sometimes do the dinner settings around the fire. And for lunch, what we do is we set up at the end of the garden here under the trees, so you have a lovely bit of shade. So sort of a few different options for dining, but again, sort of maintaining that lovely open air feel. In terms of food, exceptional quality. As I said, we have our own organic food and vegetable garden. This is the setup under the trees you can see here. But really fantastic food. So with our head chef here has really been inspired and is working a lot to encourage people in from the local communities as well and sort of build up the local business. So really, really delicious food. And then this, I just wanted to show you, this is our setup for lunch. We tend to do a buffet style at lunch. So there'll be all kinds of different vegetarian options, more sort of pasta or lasagna, or maybe a curry based different options, and then salads and meats and vegetables and meats and cheeses, etc. I just wanted to add that we can cater to all dietaries. Obviously, that's something that we would, please do flag to us any dietaries. But being in Nairobi obviously makes it much simpler. And then the tents. So we have 9 of these lovely spacious tents. We have doubles, which are actually kings, and twin bed configurations. They are so sparkling and clean. The housekeeping is taking great pride in what they are doing here. Everything was spotless when I was there. You can see it's lovely and private, and you have this fencing around you. This is obviously was put up in June of 2025, and they didn't really get their short rains this year. So we're hoping for a little bit more rain in April and May, and then the idea is obviously this greenery will hide all of that, and you will feel that you're much more in that forest area. So whilst it is forested around the rooms, it just needs a little bit of time for everything to grow up, but it's still lovely. I really enjoyed being in the tent, and they bring you early morning tea and coffee. It's a nice sort of like overlap from the Porini routines. So sitting out here having a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and listening to the birds and watching the sunrise was just lovely. Really, really enjoyed it. And then a little desk, as you would expect. And then obviously we have our own bathrooms. And the nice thing here is obviously it's a flush loo, as it is always, but we also have running hot and cold water. It is not just a bucket shower here, it's a proper running shower. So this is just a little video that I took. This is showing the entrance to the tent. You come through this lovely area here, and then I will just let the video run and you can sort of get a feel for the privacy and the area around the tent. This is tent 1, just in case you wanted to know. And one of the other nice touches is they actually put hot water bottles in the tents into the beds at night. So it's lovely and cozy on arrival. I arrived on the BA flight, and so obviously it was quite a late arrival. So it was lovely to crawl into bed and have the hot water bottle there. So rates and fast facts. So 9 tents, as I said, for 18 guests. It is a gold eco-rated tented camp, so as you would think, it has a very low eco footprint. So something to be aware of. There aren't an enormous amount of options in Nairobi for that. So if you have any guests who are interested in that or feel that's important, we are solar powered. As I mentioned, hot and cold running water, 24-hour security as you would expect, and then the Wi-Fi I spoke about that's coming. We have a suggested age of 5 and above for children, but of course, always let us know. We just sort of think it's probably better for most guests in this kind of very small tented camp scenario. I think one of the main big selling points is the rate. I mean, such good value for Nairobi, as I'm sure you're aware. I would definitely, if I was an international guest, probably opt for the full board supplement. However, there are an enormous number of fantastic restaurants, and we have this great activities and restaurant suggestions list. And it is very easy to get an Uber from Nairobi Tented Camp. We can help organise that. Obviously, you can organise that yourself, or we can organise transport. So if people do want to go out and about for dinner and supper, then that's very easy. For all of our guests that stay at any Porini camp, as you know, we charge our Wildlife Habitat Trust price, which goes to all the good causes that Porini support. And good value for children. We include water and soft drinks, and there is a day room rate. I think the day room rate probably is a really lovely option because you come back into Nairobi, you could come to Nairobi Tented Camp and have lunch there, maybe have a little afternoon activity, shower, and then if you wanted to, have supper and then transfer out to the airport. And obviously I wanted to sort of put in about the special as well. So we offer a free night with an 8-night stay at a combination of Porini safari camps. So in terms of what you might do whilst you're there, and I know many of you will be experts on Nairobi anyway, but some of the things that I did, there's an extraordinary amount of different wildlife and art options. I went to the Matt Bronze whilst I was there, which I really enjoyed. But there's also lots of artisan artists, different places that you can combine with lunch. This was the Kobe Tough. If anybody knows about Kobe Tough, it's a lovely women's upliftment for disadvantaged women that works really well. They make glass beads, which I also experienced. But there are, I think I have a little booklet which has about 10 different pages of activities that you can do. But obviously lots of shopping is available. There's also the wildlife and conservation experiences. So pop into the park. We can do 2 or 3 hours, as I mentioned. Giraffe Centre's very easy and close by, and the Sheldrick as well. And I've always enjoyed Karen Blixen Museum. There's lovely restaurants next door, and that makes for a very easy option. If you have guests who are transferring from Wilson, where you can also do an extended transfer where we add 2 or 3 hours, and then people can add on a visit to one of these experiences, or we can chat to them about what they want to do. They can book it all locally. None of it has to be pre-booked, but if you'd like to, we're happy to. So lots of different options there. And then, as I mentioned, so the hub is directly opposite us, and literally next door we have our Serenity Spa. So I think it covers all the different options, you know, for over a 24-hour stay. You know, obviously different people are arriving at different times, but I think that there is certainly plenty to do. And to either occupy an afternoon or maybe a full day in Nairobi, it's really not a problem. And then I put these in there so you get a feel for pricing. This is the spa next door. I think we worked out that the Game Drive Reviver, which always sounds really good fun, is about 26 pounds. So really reasonable. And then also here, from a food perspective, I mean, obviously you're looking at under £10 easily for any of these. And we have this snack menu is available 24 hours. Because obviously we're aware that people arrive at different times and different time zones and need maybe to eat not during our normal breakfast, lunch and dinner session. So it's nice to have this as a backup. So why Nairobi Tented Camp? I really put this in here. This is a picture of Morris, who's the general manager there, and that's actually Kim, our marketing manager, sitting around the campfire having a chat and a glass of wine. But Morris is great. You know, he's out there, he's in front of the guests, he's welcoming people in. I really got to know him. You know, he became sort of a bit of a character, always looking out for you. What can we do? What can we help with? That friendly and personal feel. So sitting around the campfire, you know, if you have any single travellers, he'll come and join them. Obviously, we have a whole team of people. It is not just Morris, but he's a really good connector as well. It is simple, but great value for money. You know, obviously around the $100 mark for a Nairobi hotel is pretty incredible. We have our organic vegetable garden, so it's really made for extraordinarily fresh and delicious food. I totally, hand on heart, can recommend the food. I had breakfast, lunch and dinner at different times there, so they were all delicious. Lovely relaxed atmosphere, great for those people who want a sort of low impact option. Fire pit as you would see, and just easy access to a whole load of different things that you can do. Secure, and you can store the luggage. So a great little garden oasis in the heart of Nairobi. So I know that was a little bit more about the sales side of it, but you know, I think hand on heart, you know, for a friendly, simple, great value option in a lovely little oasis, don't, you know, think about Nairobi Tented Camp. It is a lovely option. And then last but not least, obviously, everything that you do that is staying at Nairobi Tented Camp or the Porini camps have an impact, as you would know. So I just wanted to finish with this slide and have it there. So yeah, so that's it. It was just a quick run through. I hope I've been quick. Any questions, Lucy?
Thanks, Helen. That was really interesting. There's no questions on our Q&A. Oh, one has just come in. Oh no, that was Dan just saying thank you very much.
Oh, pleasure.
We do have one question that came in prior to the webinar, which was, do you have a recommended amount of nights that you would stay for?
Right. So, well, I mean, I think most people, you know, the way I think of it is obviously you have guests that are coming from further afield. They might like longer in Nairobi. You're arriving at different times of the day. I think you could easily spend a couple of nights there, recover from your jet lag before you move on to your expensive part of your safari, shall we say. So it's definitely worth considering having a bit of recovery time here. You're in a tent. You're sitting around the campfire, you're having that lovely experiences in Nairobi. So I think it's a sort of, you definitely could stay 2 nights. Alternatively, great little base for people who are coming in, maybe going down to Tanzania, maybe carrying on with the gorillas or wherever they might be going onto the coast, and then they might have different luggages. And obviously we can store all that luggage and sort of make a place where you can swap around what you might be doing on different nights. So you'd be happy staying there for multiple nights, but I guess most people want to be out on their proper safari, as they would say. But I definitely think for those people coming from further afield, you could definitely stay for the 2 nights.
Yeah, fab. There's no other questions, so I think you've covered everything.
I must have covered everything.
Yeah.
Well, that's lovely. Thank you for everybody for attending.